Parentese is the way in which adults speak to children. Some characteristics of parentese include a more limited vocabulary. Children often focus on body parts, foods, names for people, animals, clothing, and similar objects. In addition to more limited vocabulary, parentese also includes repetition, a slower rate of speech, exaggerated intonation, lengthened vowels, and higher pitch.
Parentese is different than baby talk. Baby talk uses nonsense words and mispronounced words. For instance, someone speaking baby talk might say, "Is wabbit boo-boo? Is wabbit boo-boo?" Parentese, on the other hand, might say, "Is your rabbit blue? Is rabbit blue?" The following video is an example of what parentese might look like.
You had a good meal? What'd you have? Tell me, what'd you have? Did you have spaghetti? You had spaghetti? Is that what you had? Yeah? Spaghetti with chicken? Yeah. Did it make your belly happy? Did it make your belly happy? Yeah. Yeah, it made your tummy full. And it made you do a dance.
A pidgin or pidgin language is a simplified language that develops as a means of communication between two or more groups that do not have a language in common. It is most commonly employed in situations such as trade, or where both groups speak languages different from the language of the country in which they
People
reside.
think pidgin one language. Yeah, that's my language. That's the language of my heart. Maybe I don't use them every day because I don't see people who only speak pidgin, so I just speak to them or talk to them in standard English. But if somebody talk like this to me, well, I mean, just come natural for talk. I guess because it was from small kid time. That's how I was talking. It's the language of Hawaii. I mean, I don't want to say the Hawaiian language not important. That's the indigenous people's language, and that's great. But the Hawaii we know today, for all the immigrants that went come from all over the place, Japan, Philippines, China, Portugal, when come together, that's the language.
Yet people ask, what's pidgin? Pidgin one language we talk in Hawaii. More than half the people here. Different from Hawaiian. Maybe a little bit like English, but yet all kinds of stuff from other kind of languages mix in. Like from Hawaiian, Cantonese, Portuguese, Japanese, Korean, Filipino. You know, other people when work the plantations.
At the time when they started the plantations in Hawaii, the power on the plantations were primarily English speakers. The immigrant groups do not know each other's language. They're different languages. So in order to communicate with each other, they are using English or whatever English they can hear.
So let's say a Japanese immigrant and a Portuguese immigrant trying to speak English to each other, but throwing in features from their own first languages as well. That's how pidgins start.
One of the interesting features about pidgin, it has to get vocabulary from somewhere. So one of the things it does is it borrows a lot of vocabulary from the languages around it. I can sort of hear my grandmother saying stuff. It's something like, "You raiki banana, you wiki wiki kau kau mai tai." The meaning of that, "You raiki banana, if you want this banana, you wiki wiki kau kau. You quickly eat it, mai tai, it'll be okay."
Creole or Creole language is a natural language developed by the mixing of parent languages. Creoles, unlike pidgins, have been nativized by children as their primary language, which results in having features of natural languages that are normally missing from pidgins. An example of the Creole language is a Nicaraguan sign language. It was created by the deaf children who were once isolated from language and were always left at home. In 1980, the first school was opened for the deaf children in Managua. The teacher signed Spanish even though the students had had no prior exposure to Spanish. The critical age for learning languages with fluency seems to be before puberty.
We know intuitively that children are not able to hear complex sentences, and so what we do is simplify the language and make it very interesting to listen to. So we increase the pitch and we speak more slowly and we have very exaggerated intonation contours.
So that is conditioning to the language of whatever culture they're in.
It increases their attention to what we're saying and how we're saying it. It's both emotionally satisfying and it has linguistic information that's simpler for their brains to process.
Is it also true, your research suggests, that babies are actually much better than grown-ups at learning another language, a new language?
Yes, biologists call this a critical period, and language is one of the best examples that we have. From 0 to 7, children are phenomenal at their abilities to simply absorb information about a language by listening to it. And as you move towards puberty, that completely changes. After puberty, it's much, much more difficult.
The earlier a child is exposed to language creates a strong foundation for learning. When we are exposed to a second language early in life, it becomes easier to learn multiple languages, as opposed to learning a language later in life. A child that is neglected has a smaller brain compared to a child that is not neglected.
Overall, language acquisition is extremely important, yet complex.